If you hear the word budget and immediately feel resistance, you're not alone. And you're not wrong to feel it because the way budgeting gets taught makes it almost impossible not to resist. Welcome back. This is day 27 of your Money Mindset Reset. Yesterday, we talked about boundaries, protecting what you have and protecting yourself from situations that drain it. Today, we're talking about the other side of that, and that is directing your money intentionally before it disappears in directions that don't serve you. And before we get into it, I want to reframe something because I think the word budget has been given a meaning it was never supposed to have. Budgeting got associated with restriction, with deprivation, with the feeling that you're always saying no, you're always cutting back, you're always monitoring yourself like you can't be trusted. And for a lot of people, including me, that framing just doesn't feel unpleasant. It actively backfires because the tighter the constraint feels, the stronger the urge to push back against it. You white knuckle it for a while and then you swing the other direction. Overly controlled, then overly loose. Neither one is sustainable. Neither one actually serves you. So the problem isn't that people are too undisciplined for budgets. It's that the way budgeting gets framed sets most people up to fail before they even start. Restriction-based budgeting works for a small percentage of people who are naturally wired for that kind of structure. For everyone else, it creates a cycle. Deprivation, rebellion, guilt, restart. And this cycle isn't a character flaw, it's a predictable response to a system that doesn't fit how most people actually work. I've never thrived under a tight, category by category, track every dollar kind of budget. And when I stopped pretending I did that a long time ago. Tracking every expense in fine detail feels restrictive to me. And when something feels restrictive, I want to push back against it. Not always in obvious ways, but in the quiet form of ignoring it, of avoiding it, or eventually abandoning it entirely. And then the pendulum swings. So what I've built instead is something looser that actually holds for me. I keep track of what a normal month looks like for me, not precisely, but well enough. I know my baseline expenses. I know roughly what things should run. And when a particular month is running higher than usual, I notice it. And that awareness is what triggers more conscious monitoring for the rest of that period. Is it a perfect system? No, but it's mine and I stick with it. And a real system you actually use consistently beats a perfect one you abandon after 3 weeks every single time. The goal of any financial system is not perfection, it's sustained awareness. You can't manage what you're not paying attention to, but you also can't sustain a system that makes you miserable. Finding the version that keeps you engaged without grinding you down is the whole challenge. Here's where this reframing actually lives for me. And it's the thing that challenged how I think about this entirely. I work hard for the money that I make. That's true in every season, through every circumstance this series has covered. The marriage, the divorce, rebuilding, the business, all of it. Money doesn't just appear. It comes from effort, from sacrifice, from showing up even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. And respecting myself means respecting that effort. It means not being careless with something I worked hard for. not ignoring it and hoping it works itself out, not wasting it on things that don't actually matter to me, or letting it disappear into situations that I wasn't paying attention to. Budgeting in that frame isn't about limiting yourself. It's about honoring the work it took to have anything to direct in the first place. When I started thinking about it that way, the resistance started to soften, not because the mechanics changed, but because the meaning behind it, that's what changed. It stopped being something imposed on me from outside and became something that I chose because I cared enough about my own effort to pay attention to where it was going. Self respect with money doesn't mean being perfect with it, it means taking it seriously enough to be intentional, not ignoring it, not pretending it will just work itself out, giving it the same attention you'd give anything else that you worked hard for. So, what word would you use instead of budget if you were to reframe it for yourself? Some people want to call it a spending plan. Some people call it a money map or financial intention. What would make it feel less like a punishment and more like a tool? I'm curious, I'm sure there's a creative name out there somewhere. For me, there was a specific moment where this clicked into place in a way that it hadn't before. It was right after my divorce was final. I knew I needed to take my retirement portfolio seriously in a way I hadn't during the marriage. During those years, that money existed, but I wasn't managing it. I wasn't especially consulted about it and wasn't really tracking what was happening with it. It was there somewhere being handled by someone else in ways I didn't fully understand or have a voice in. And when the marriage ended, it became mine. Fully and completely mine to handle well or handle poorly. And that changed everything about how I saw it. I hired a financial advisor, not because I was suddenly flush with money or in a position to make dramatic moves, but because I recognized that this was something that I had to take seriously right now. It was mine to steward. And leaving it unattended or trying to manage it myself without the knowledge or interest to do it well, that would have been a form of disrespect to the effort that went into building it and to the future that it was supposed to support. That decision came from a sense of responsibility, not fear. And that distinction mattered. There is a difference between managing your money from fear and managing it from ownership. Fear makes you reactive, checking constantly, panicking at small changes, making decisions based on anxiety, or avoidance altogether. Ownership makes you intentional. You set things up thoughtfully. You delegate what you can't manage well. And you're committed to staying informed without being consumed by it. So, what is budgeting exactly? Because I think it deserves a cleaner definition than what it actually gets. Budgeting is respecting yourself and the effort it took to earn money enough to use it to the best of your ability to cover the expenses of everyday life, to actually have a life, and to prepare for your future. That's it. It's not a punishment for spending. It's not a rigid system designed to make you feel bad every time you deviate. It's a decision to be intentional with something that took real effort to create. It means not ignoring your money, not letting it disappear without knowing where it went, not waking up at the end of the month wondering why things feel tight when you can't account for what happened. And it connects directly to what we talked about in day 7. That's alignment. When your money is going where your values are, decisions feel clear. When it isn't, there's that nagging sense of waste and regret that has nothing to do with how much you spent and everything to do with what you spent it on. If the idea of a traditional budget feels impossible right now, you need to start smaller than that. Know what a normal month looks like. Not perfectly, but kind of in round numbers. What does it cost you to live your actual life in a typical month? And that number is your baseline. Then you need to notice when you're running above it. That's not to punish yourself. That is just to be aware. Awareness is what makes adjustment possible. And then ask the question from day 7, is my money going toward what actually matters to me? Because sometimes the answer is yes, and you feel fine about where things stand. And sometimes the answer is no. And knowing that is the beginning of changing it. We've got 4 prompts for your journal exercise today. First, what does a normal month look like for me? Just an estimate, not perfection. What do you spend in a typical month in round numbers? We're talking fixed expenses, variable expenses, the things that come up regularly, even if not monthly. Second, where does my money go that actually matters to me? Name the category that feels aligned. The spending you do, again, without any hesitation. Third, where does my money go that doesn't align with what I actually value? There's no judgment here about it. It's just honesty. What spending, when you look at it clearly, doesn't reflect who you are or what you care about? Fourth, what is one adjustment that I can make this month that reflects self-respect, not restriction? One shift that says, I'm paying attention to this because it matters. Because that's the whole reframe. Not what do I have to cut, but what does respect for my own effort actually look like here? Budgeting isn't about limiting your life. It's about supporting it now and in the future. It's about respecting yourself and the work it took to earn what you have enough to use it and to use it well. To cover today, to have a real life, and to build towards something. That's not restriction, that's intention. And intention is something that you get to choose. You have more control than you think. You've got this. I'll see you tomorrow for day 28. And this one matters to me personally. We're talking about what happens when the financial patterns you've been working to change get passed down. And what it looks like to decide that cycle stops right here. I'll see you then.